In the vast map of human knowledge, there are still blank spaces, uncharted abysses. And from those very voids, the greatest monsters are born. They don't emerge from nightmares, but from our own yearning for discovery. Our story, ironically, doesn't begin with an ancient legend, but with the screech of tires on a deserted road. July 1933, George Spicer and his wife were driving along the shore of Loch Ness. They slammed on the brakes. Right before them, an absurd shape was crossing the road. A massive body, legless, hairless, with a long neck coiling like a question mark in the air. It vanished into the cold water, leaving behind two stunned people and a ripple that sparked a global storm. Mr. Spicer's letter to the local newspaper lit a fuse. For the first time, the modern world named it monster. The 20th century was an era of ironclad belief in machines, in lenses, in tangible evidence. The first generation of explorers believed that beneath the waters was a living relic from prehistory, a plesiosaur that had somehow escaped extinction. They believed that just one photograph was enough to validate a legend, to turn myth into fact. And then, in 1934, the world got the answer it craved: the surgeon's photograph. Amidst solitary ripples, a graceful neck emerged, proud and silent. It perfectly matched the dreams of an entire generation. The photo was published in the Daily Mail, and in that moment, Nessie was no longer just a tale. It had a face. A legend was etched into history. But faith, no matter how fervent, cannot answer the cold questions of logic. Scientists began to speak up. How could a population of giant creatures survive in a nutrient-poor lake? How could an ancient reptile have survived the Ice Age when the very lake itself was a massive block of ice? The collapse didn't come from a laboratory, but from a deathbed confession. In 1994, almost 60 years later, Christian Sperling admitted the whole truth. That sacred photograph was a hoax, an elaborate act of revenge aimed at the newspaper that had ridiculed his father-in-law. Nessie's greatest icon was just a toy submarine, a bit of wood putty, and a betrayed belief. The whole world had been fooled. The legend seemed dead.
Was man-made.
But legends have a strange resilience. When one symbol crumbles, it rises again in another form. The hunt entered a new era. In 1987, Operation Deepscan deployed a fleet of 24 boats, lined up like a wall of sound, blasting sonar beams into the abyss. The screens remained empty for extended periods, until, in the deepest reaches, 3 massive, unidentified shadows appeared. They were bigger than sharks, smaller than whales, moving in an inexplicable way before vanishing into the darkness. The mystery wasn't dead. It had merely dived deeper. The true revolution came from an even more sophisticated idea. Don't look for the monster. Look for its ghost. In 2018, Professor Neil Gemmell conducted environmental DNA analysis, the genetic fingerprints every living organism leaves in the water. The results were a shock. No plesiosaur genetic code, no sharks. But there was one thing, a lot of it: eel DNA. A new theory emerged. Could Nessie be an abnormally giant eel? A scientific explanation, but one lacking grandeur. The legend once again faced the risk of being tamed, of being reduced to a mundane fact. The nearly century-long journey, from footprints in the mud to genetic sequences in test tubes, may not have brought us closer to the monster, but it has brought us closer to ourselves. The real question isn't, does Nessie exist? But rather, why, after all this, do we still long for it to exist? Because in a world where every corner is satellite mapped, every truth is searchable in seconds, our souls still yearn for an undiscovered country. We need mysteries, unanswered questions, just as our ancestors needed the stars to guide them. Nessie is not a creature of flesh and blood. It is an idea. It is the gatekeeper standing between the tangible world and our boundless imagination. And perhaps its mission isn't to be found. Its mission is to forever elude, to keep a little magic alive in this world.